end of 2015. This guy said this, and I was just gauging who's the most humble. That's my version of humility. Because Will Smith, you guys see my little picture of me and Will Smith? I was talking to him at the Rihanna had a dinner, and he was there. He's a very nice guy. And he has that great saying, it's just two things you have to know in life. Running, because there's a little voice in your head when you run and it says your lungs are gonna explode. Stop. But if you can push through that, past that voice, you'll be able to push through anything. And then he said reading, because there's a lot of smart people who have already gone through life and figured out whatever problems you're gonna be confronted with. So what Will Smith was really saying is, that's humble. And it's very hard for me to get that through people's head. And that group of people at the table, I'll tell you which one I would invest in. It's the one who answered that question, the one who, none of them actually read that many books. But if one of them had surprised me and been like, dude, I read 67 books this year, 140 books, 300, I'd be like, the only reason you would read that many books is you think other people know something you don't know. No other reason you spend that much time. Which is my version of humility. The world has its own bizarre version of humility. It's whoever says self-effacing and self-deprecating thing. That doesn't mean jack shit. A lot of people, self-effacing and self-deprecating attributes, you can fake those. You can get up and be like, well, you know, not many people, no, whatever. Show me what you did. Because remember, what are the two things that talk and everything else walks? Money, M and T, which is time. Warren Buffett says, look, dude, to stay at the top of my game, I've just found I gotta read 8 hours a day. I gotta read 800 pages or else I will fall behind for my investors. What does that mean about all of us? So if Warren Buffett walks down this hall right here, and he comes sits here, and he's got the most money of all of us combined. You guys remember the Bible verse? I don't know if anybody here is religious, but it says, the meek will inherit the earth. You ever heard that? Anybody? The Beatitudes? Do you remember as a little kid being like, that ain't right? And you ever heard adults be like, that's not true, that's not really? No, that was right. It's the meek that inherit the earth. Bill Gates starts at 12, 13, he's a freaking prodigy, he's a genius, he knows he's smarter than the same person he meets. He identifies what's working in computers, what's not. He then goes, oh, over there's a dude, he makes a phone call, he's so young he changes his voice like, yo, so the guy takes it seriously. He's like, I'll send you 50 grand. And the guy goes, okay, I'll sell it to you for 50 grand. And Bill Gates just buys DOS for $50,000. So many adults could have seen it, but I guarantee there was a lot of cocky entrepreneurs being like, no, I'll build it myself. Bill Gates was like, any means necessary to accomplish the end game goal, even, because a lot of people say, oh, Bill Gates didn't even make DOS. No shit. He was humble enough to know no one's smart enough to know everything. So he just buys it from somebody else, says, I don't care for the next 40 years everybody says I bought it, because for 17 of those years straight, I'll be the richest man in the world. They could say whatever. If I made any of you the richest man in the world, how many blog posts would you care if they write about you? I always say, I was at this thing with the Kardashians, the Laker game with the Kardashian, and when they put the cameras on the Kardashian, they get booed like crazy. I feel so pain being there. You're like, oh, it used to be Justin Bieber, but not anymore. People like him now, that last song. One song will fix, that's what I learned. One song, you get a good collab, you make a song that people like, all of a sudden you go from being booed to people like, Justin Bieber's pretty badass. But Kardashians still haven't got that song formula down yet, so. But I was thinking, because it was 18,000 people there, and I was like, but they made $300 million last year. So who wants to do the math? Dollars per laugh. 300 million, who wants to divide by 18,000? Anybody? Calculators? You guys should have calculators as your first app. That's what I keep my first app on the phone. Language of money.
How many?
300,000 divided by, 300 million divided by 18,000. What are we coming up with? 16,000? So who here will go to Madison Square Garden in front of live TV, all your friends are gonna see it, and you can get booed. So I'm gonna be like, listen bro, what's your name? Jose, I'm gonna bring you, I'm gonna embarrass you. Your whole family, we're gonna put this live, it's gonna be on YouTube, Instagram, but I'll make it up for you on the back end, $16,600 per person booing. What would you try to do? Get people to boo, you'd be mooning people, you're like, bring it on. So, at the end of the day, Bill Gates, maybe he took the more humble path, he bought his way into it, but it was the humble path and it works every time. So, when I give these talks, people always ask me, best thing you've learned, this. It's hard to isolate it down to one because there's different facets of the same diamond. Your success, think of it like a diamond. You can look at it from lots of different angles. I try to vibe out the room. I try to also just say what's currently on my thought. And without a doubt, this concept of humility is almost always the missing factor.